Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Middle of the Week. My name is Michael Halfill. I'm the lead pastor at the Piedmont Park Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I hope you're having a great week. I hope you are enjoying summer and the fun that it entails. We got some hot weather coming our way, and I'm pretty excited about it. Well, I wanted to share a verse of Scripture with you that I think is very fascinating, and it gives us some counsel on how we deal with conflict. Have you ever had to deal with conflict, whether it's at work or in your home? I imagine you probably have. Or have you ever had to deal with conflict at church? We tend to think that should never happen because we're Christians, we're followers of God, we shouldn't disagree, but it does happen. In fact, it's been happening for a long time, even amongst church leaders. Listen to this fascinating section of scriptures from Galatians chapter 2, verse 11. Can you imagine Paul and Peter disagreeing? Well, listen to this. This is Paul writing in Galatians 2, verse 11. He says, "Now, when Peter had come to Antioch, I withstood him to his face," which means they got nose to nose and they talked something out. He says, "I withstood him to his face because he was to be blamed. For before certain men came from James, he would eat with the Gentiles. But when they came, Peter withdrew, and separated himself, fearing those who were of the circumcision. And the rest of the Jews who also played the hypocrite with him, so that even Barnabas was carried away with their hypocrisy." So then Paul goes right to Peter and says, "Hang on a minute, why are you changing? You were eating with them and now you're not. Are you expecting Gentiles to live as Jews when you live as a Gentile?" He gets in his face. Paul does, and he talks to Peter. And Peter doesn't argue back. He admits, yeah, I made a mistake here. It's just fascinating to think of these two great pillars of the faith, Paul and Peter, who wrote books in the Bible. They had a disagreement, and one of them made a mistake, and the other one called him out on it. Paul said that he went straight to Peter and talked to him, which is really what we're supposed to do when we have an issue with someone, is not talk to everybody else, but go and talk to that individual. So friends, I know conflict is not easy. Certainly not at home, not at work, and not at the church, but it's part of life because even though we're followers of God, we are still human, and we make mistakes, like Peter did, and we have conflict. We have to have tough conversations sometimes, but I hope we can be like Peter and Paul and work through our issues when they come up. That's the thing we learn here when we read this in the Bible, is how to talk through things and when we're disagreeing. And sometimes we can work things out like they did, and sometimes we're just going to disagree on some things. But friends, I want to encourage you to work together, because that's what it's like. In church, sometimes we're going to bump heads and we're going to knock into each other figuratively, right? And that's how we're learning how to love. We don't just say like, "Oh, I've got a conflict, so I'm leaving." No, you stay, you talk, you work it out. And I want to just encourage you to do that like Paul and Peter did, because it's not easy. And do confrontations like this prayerfully, asking yourself, what am I seeking from this conversation? What am I trying to accomplish? Paul had an agenda of what he was trying to accomplish and trying to correct Peter's behavior. And we need to be aware of what we're trying to accomplish when we have tough conversations. And do it prayerfully. Do it with a humble heart, not with a confrontational heart that's going to make someone feel bad. So friends, just wanted to encourage you, because if you haven't had conflict yet in life, whether it's at school, work, home, or church, you will someday. We're all going to deal with conflict until Jesus comes, and won't that be a wonderful day when that comes and we don't have to worry about it anymore? But prior to that, we need second chances. We need a second chance when we mess up, and we need to give people a second chance when they mess up. And speaking of second chances, that is our new sermon series we're doing right now this summer. We're talking about the God of second chances and looking at people in the book, different Bible characters who needed second chances. So friends, I hope that you'll join us for worship this coming Saturday. Our Bible study time's at 9:30 for all ages. It's online and in person. And our worship time is at 11 as we continue to look at a God of second chances. This weekend, we'll be talking about the Bible character of David. So friends, I hope you'll join us. Take care, everyone, and let's take care of everyone.